Welcome to the T-Squared Dad's Brown Bag Podcast. Here's your hosts, Kyle Baker and Dieter Burrell. Hey, welcome back to the T-Squared Dad's Brown Bag Podcast. We are here today. It's been a while, and we're here in a new studio for us. So that's one of the things that's kept us away for a little while. But today we're going to be talking about kind of what's been going on over the past couple months that has been occupying our time. And yeah, so what you been up to, Dieter?
Well, for one thing, I want to tell all listeners that I think we both are very sorry that we've kind of been slacking. I know it's been over, 60 days, but it could have been less. We wish it was less, but again, we've been real super busy. Our lives have kind of taken over. Kyle, you can tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you.
Yeah, I think in one of the last episodes, we were talking about me getting ready for my first ARE 5.0 test of this year. I'd already passed 2, so I was taking my third one. And I know I've already told you, but I passed that. Woo-hoo. That was the construction evaluation exam. And even since then, I have studied and passed my 4th exam, which was programming and analysis. So since the last time we talked, I passed 2 of my exams, and I now have 2 left. So I passed 4 total, got 2 left. I have PPD and PDD. So those are kind of the 2 big heavy hitter tests, but I'm hoping that I've kind of hit my stride now and keep up the momentum and knock those ones out.
You got to be super excited. I know that when I was taking my test, every time I hit a milestone and I pass it, I was super stoked, and I couldn't wait for the next one. For me, I don't know if some of you listeners know, but I quit my day job pretty much, and I've gone solo. So I'm running my own business. It's called B&A Architectural Group Inc. And I feel very blessed that a lot of my engineers and guys that I work with in the industry have reached out to me to help me bring in a little bit of money to the house to kind of help
get you kick-started a little bit.
So it's been really a godsend, I would say, and I've been pretty tied up with all this other stuff, which I put a lot of effort. I had the great idea. I said to Kyle, it's like, I'm going to build a shed, and I'm going to create sort of like an outdoor office, so I can kind of be outside of the house, and we can have our semi, like, I'm going to call it the podcast studio. We can come over here. We can do our podcast. Being that this is the first one in the shed that we're doing. So,
yep. So we're in the shed that Dieter built, and I helped a little bit, and so we're working through the acoustics a little bit in here. So if you hear anything, that those issues might be fixed in the next episode or sometime very soon. But it's awesome to have a designated place to go now. You know, we're not hopping from place to place, and we can hopefully get back into the swing of things and focus on the podcast. I'm focusing on the test. You're focusing on growing this business that you've started. But it's been a wild couple of months, man. I mean, Dieter and I worked together, and he left that firm that we worked at, and I haven't seen you as much as I normally do. So it's always good to sit down and catch up. And we've gotten lunch a couple of times, but we used to go to lunch every day and talk and chat and stay caught up with one another. And now he's gone, and we just have to make time. But hopefully now that we have a place to kind of do the podcast, that'll give us an opportunity to get back together and shoot ideas off of one another, and it'll be good. And man, I mean, I'm so happy that you took on this shed.
Hey, I'm going to say one thing before I forget. I got to give my wife a lot of credit. She was a trooper. She was in here with me, nailing. She busted her fingers left and right, sanded with me, painted with me. She's done it all, man. She's been one heck of a trooper, and we can't forget to
Absolutely.
say thank you to our wives for
Absolutely.
sticking out there for us.
I remember at the very beginning we were doing concrete, and Dieter had the bright idea to mix 150 bags of concrete by hand. And man, she was right there with us, and busting bags open and mixing stuff and leveling it all out. And I think we went from like a 4-inch slab with a turn down to what is probably 10 inches thick now to get it up to grade.
Yeah.
But man, it's turned out really nice. And once we get some final touches on it and everything, I think it'll be perfect for you. Especially now that you've stepped out on your own, it'll be good to have a place that's kind of office before you actually have to take on the burden of renting somewhere or anything like that.
Yeah. I know that it started out as a 8x10.
Yeah.
and then the wife says, 8x10, it's too little. Why don't you make it a 10x10? And then we're sitting out and I'm staking it, and she goes, no, how about we make it a 16x10? I'm like, Jesus criminy, we're gonna have like a mother-in-law suite by the time we're done. Normally
it's the other way around with clients. It's you start with this big 50,000 square foot building, and all of a sudden by the time the project's over, it's 20,000 square feet in one story. Yeah, and you went the opposite route. You started small and got bigger and bigger.
I would have to say I thank Uncle Sam for all those stimulus checks.
Yeah, right. They helped out. Absolutely. But so right now for me, I'm still working my normal job, trying to study as much as possible. I'm studying for the PPD test right now, and it's brutal. I'm trying to find time to do all of that with my kids, and it's been a big stressful situation, trying to make sure that they're happy and everything like that. And I guess we're giving shout outs to the wives today in this episode, but my wife was fantastic during these past 2 tests. The last time I was taking tests, we only had 1 kid, and it was kind of like, figure it out on your own, Kyle, make time, stay up late, do this. But here lately, I think she's as ready as I am to be done. And so we just have 4th of July weekend not too long ago, and I just switched to working 4/10, so I have Fridays off. And so I take Fridays, studied for 8 or 10 hours. She took the kids all day Saturday, so I studied for 8 or 10 hours. I was with them on Sunday. That's kind of our day that we're always with family. And then that Monday we had off for the holidays, so I studied for another 8 or 10 hours that day, and then took Wednesday off, the day before my test, studied for like another 8 hours, and then took the test on Thursday. So, I always find it funny on one of the platforms that I use, Black Spectacles, it asks if you passed or failed after you took the test, and I put pass, and it always asks roughly how long did you spend studying, and it's like 5 to 10 hours, and I'm like, who only studied for 5 hours? But then it's 10 to 25, and then 25 to 40, and then 40 plus, and I'm like, shoot, I studied 40 plus hours in the past 8 days.
Wow.
So it really is a big undertaking, just a lot of time. Like, it's not only just stressful, but a lot of time that has to go into those things. So, and that was the test that I had failed previously whenever I got into my rut and took almost 2 years off. Part of that was due to COVID, but it was still 2 years since the last time I had passed a test. So I'm trying to keep that momentum going, and I'm going to be okay if I fail this next one. Just got to keep taking them. So hopefully by the end of the year, I'm done. And yeah.
Now you guys know the reasons why we haven't been around.
Yeah, now you know. We've been just sitting on the couch watching TV, hanging out. No, it's been busy and a lot of changes. There's been a lot of changes going on in the past couple months, and but I think we're both ready to get back into doing the podcast. Now things have kind of calmed down a little bit. I feel like you're a little bit more stable and kind of put the pieces together and got your schedule worked out, and my schedule's always crazy, so we can always work around one schedule,
Yep.
but we can't work around two.
Yeah.
So
So our plan coming up, guys. So you guys kind of expect us, the next following podcast we're going to be shooting out is like we're going to be focusing on Kyle and his testing and all the pros and cons, all his experiences that he's gone through, what he would recommend to people, and all sorts of stuff. And now that we're kind of have a place to do the podcast, we're going to be talking about me. We're going to be talking about the heartaches of the shed and all the intricacies of it, and many more things. There's so many things. We're going to probably have a leadership podcast about something. We're gonna bring something up. We've had so much experience with the leadership and business type environments. What makes and breaks a good culture, and we'll bring that kind of stuff, and hopefully you guys can stick with it.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of big things coming, and we're gonna get back on our typical podcast a week. In fact, if we have a chance, we might try to do a couple extras here at the beginning to kind of get that going. But definitely big things coming from T Squared Brown Bag, and and I'm excited. And with that, we'll go into the joke of the day as always. We haven't forgot that. Singing in the shower is fun until you get soap in your mouth. Then it's a soap opera. Thanks for listening to the T Squared Dad's Brown Bag Podcast. Please subscribe on your favorite platform, and we will talk to you next time.